What's going on, you guys? It's me again. Welcome back to another episode of Klaudless and Indy. Assuming that my previous recording actually worked, this will be part 2. If it did not, then this is just another beer review video. With that out of the way, I want to say Happy New Year. Today's actually my birthday as of recording this on January the 6th. Which is why I'm wearing my goat chain today, my Capricorn chain. Super excited. I've been waiting all year. I've been waiting exactly 364 days for this day. I'm just kidding. But let's just get to it, all right? Today we're reviewing another Quaff On beer from Quaff On Brewing, and it's called the Corn Crusher. Well, can I get that? Yep, there we go. The Corn Crusher. See if I can move my mouse. Okay. Now, the Corn Crusher, which not a lot, how do you say? So, with all the people who come to at least my particular bar, I'm surprised how many people don't know about the Corn Crusher. So many people say, "Oh, what's your Pilsner? You know, what's your lightest beer that you've got?" Okay, but they look at our menu and all they see is just a 6-foot blonde, right? But sure, that's our year-round beer. That's pretty much, for lack of a better term, I would say, Quaff On's, I keep saying our. If you didn't know, disclaimer, I do work at one of their bars, but I am not a paid affiliate. These videos are not sponsored at all. I just love their beer and I really wanted to review them. And my goal, at least as far as reviewing these particular beers, is just to show people, hey, there's a lot more beers than the usual that you will see on their menu when you go to one of their big woods restaurants, right? You know, the 6-foot blonde, the strawberry blonde, the blood orange yellow dwarf. You've got the busted knuckle, the peanut butter busted knuckle, and the Hoosier red. Oh, right. And the Quaff IPA. Those are the ones that everybody, for the most part, knows. And if they don't know, when they go to the restaurant, that's what they're usually going to see on the menu, right? Unless, of course, depending on the restaurant you go to, they'll sometimes have a list of some of their specialty beers or seasonal beers on rotation. But for the most part, if they don't see those, if the restaurant doesn't have those, the only beers that they're going to see are the ones that I literally just named. So that's my goal of making these Quaff On Brewing videos, is to show people, hey, there's a lot more beers on tap, a lot more beers that you may actually like, okay, that you probably don't know of, that you may see them on the tap, but because you're not seeing their name anywhere, the bartender may not really know about those beers. They may not necessarily care. You may never actually try them. But here I am, Klaudless, trying them for you. Well, I mean, I've already had every beer that I'm tasting. I've already had either in bottle and on draft. But I'm describing them, I'm just going over the notes, just talking about them, and hopefully they actually spark your interest. So the next time that you go to a big restaurant, or if you just happen to make your way down to Brown County to the Quaff On Brewery, you'll be like, hey, I heard about this one beer and I really want to try it. So with that being said, the Corn Crusher, as far as I'm aware, this is one of their few lagers that they actually have. I think that they usually Quaff On tends to specialize in stouts. A lot of craft breweries specialize in, not stouts, ales. Misspoke there. They tend to specialize mostly in ales and not necessarily lagers. When you think of lagers or pilsners or pale ale or pale lagers, of course you're thinking of your Budweiser, Bud Light, Michelob, Coors, etc. Those are all lagers, but when you go to a craft brewery, how do you say, it's like your ale, well, I don't know what the word is, your ale illiterate, right? Not a lot of, at least as far as the people that I see, a lot of people are ale illiterate or ale ignorant. I think that's the word. Ale ignorance. They don't really know a lot about ales, right? I mean, most people grow up drinking their Buds and their Quills and their Michelobes, maybe even a Heineken, right? But they're like, ale. What's an ale? Is that like a European thing or something? You know. But Quaff On is doing America a solid by coming out with their own, lager called the Corn Crusher, and it's a pre-prohibition lager. Now, I will admit, I didn't do any research before this video to understand what in the world that means. But as far as I'm aware, I think that they actually use corn in the mash. But before we even get into that, if I even decide to get into that, I want to go to the Quaff On Brewery page, like I do in most of my videos, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to read off the information. So let me just put that over here before we pop it open. So my understanding, let me switch the camera over here, is that it's a specialty beer, right? And boom, right there, second, Corn Crusher, pre-prohibition lager. Quaff On, Corn Crusher, pre-prohibition lager is crisp and refreshing, medium-bodied with a rich mouthfeel. The moderate hop bitterness complements the mild hints of corn that linger through the dry finish. Available May through August. Well, at least as far as the one that I work at, we've had that on tap since opening. So I don't know if this applies to other restaurants or whatnot, but I think that this in general is something that should be considered a year-round, since the majority, well, actually I would go as far as to say that all of their beers that they have on tap currently, at least at the one I work at, are all ales. Of course, we had the Quafftoberfest come in. That's a lager, but yeah, that one was the only lager that we have on tap. So, oh wow, I just realized that they don't even have the ABV on this at all. But they do have it on the bottle. So on the bottle, oh wow, hold on here, that is strange. That is that is strange. So not even on the bottle. So normally on every bottle they always have the ABV. Just about every beer bottle has the ABV. But this one does not seem to have an ABV or even a proof. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe my vision is going bad. I don't think so. All it has is just the IBU, an IBU of 30. But yeah, let me actually just give you a look at that. I think it's green. It's just a green label, a dark. I would almost go as far as say a forest green label. Has the picture of what looks like an engine on there. Yeah. So I actually don't know what the ABV of this particular beer is, but let me see real fast if I can find it. Okay, so I did find it. but not necessarily on the website itself. But I went to Untapped. I pretty much just Googled it, and it's saying that's an ABV of 5.7%. Um, yeah, and I personally don't use Untapped. I've never used it before, so I'm not exactly sure how this site works. As far as I'm aware, it's just a beer review site that people can review beers. But from the looks of it, it looks like pretty much just a 5-point system. It doesn't really seem too complex. But with that out of the way, let's get into the apps. Let's get into the tasting. Open it up. Oh, hold on. I was just drinking another beer out of here. I was actually just drinking the peanut butter Boston Knuckle out of here. So there's still a little bit left in there, but I don't think that's going to affect the flavor or the tasting of the Corn Crusher. So let's do it. I'm not sure if I already said it, but we'll be drinking out of the 12-ounce Quaff On Brewing glass. These are really nice. Oh, look at that. Look at that. A nice golden flavor. Once again, well, not once again, but I'm not sure if the lack of head has to maybe do with the temperature or so. But it's nice and pale, almost straw colored. It looks good. I mean, it's not it's not clear, I would say. It is a little hazy. It's not completely transparent. I can't see like right through it, like water or so to say. So right off the bat, smell is actually very sweet. It smells a little crisp. I want to say the smell, like, how do you say it? So the smell is sweet, but like being a lager, normally, and we're not even talking about like a Meritzen, like an Oktoberfest beer, which their aroma is going to be very malty, grainy and whatnot. I find that a lot of beers, or a lot of light beers, say like your Bud Lights and whatnot, are going to have kind of a grainy smell as well. Just a crisp, grainy smell. Not really going to have anything more than that. But this right here actually has kind of a sweet smell to it. A sweet aroma. Let's get into that. Oh yeah, that's very smooth. Right out of the bottle too. That's very smooth. Not crisp. Not too crisp. Well, to be fair, I'm not drinking it like super, like right out of the fridge, like I said. This has probably been out of the fridge for maybe about an hour now. Intentionally, of course, I don't really like my beers to be super cold, as a lot of people do. I like to be able to smell the aroma, smell pretty much everything about the beer. I want the beer to express itself. And I feel like if the beer's too cold, it kind of, neutralizes everything. Yeah, that's very good. I almost want to say that, and it may just be biased too, right? What do they call it? Like a confirmation bias, maybe? I don't know. Yes, it's called Corn Crusher, but because I know it's called Corn Crusher, I want to say, oh yeah, you can taste that corn. But they even say it in the description, the mild hint of corn that linger through the dry finish. And sure, it is a dry finish, but, well, not, at least when I think of dry, I tend to think of like tannins and whatnot. But I think, like, as far as like beer dry, it's more like kind of like a grainy. So kind of like almost like a bitter finish maybe. But hands down, I would say that this is one of my favorite Quaff On beers. I know in the past I've said that the Hoosier Red was probably my favorite, but the Hoosier Red, after I've tried, well, I would say after I've reviewed or maybe had more of their other beers, the Hoosier Red got absolutely smashed down the list. Okay, and ultimately, excuse me, replaced by Java the Red. Oh, now Java the Red, now that's a beer. But this, hands down, I've had the 6 Foot Blonde, and I will be reviewing that soon, and maybe I'll even do a side by side comparison review, or side by side comparison video. But I definitely prefer the Corn Crusher over the 6 Foot Blonde. That's just my preference. With that being said, I highly recommend this beer. I do know for a fact that at the Keystone Mall they have it on tap. Do they have? Maybe they have it at Noblesville. They have a very big draft line, so I know they have a lot of different beers on that line. So you can definitely check it out, see if they have it there, or even go down to Speedway. Of course, if you're in the Indy area or planning on visiting the Indy area, go to Speedway. I hear that's a very large bar, or very large restaurant with, I think, like 3 bars or something like that, possibly. So they may just have it on tap as well. But I think that if you're planning on going to Big Woods, right, and you don't really know too much about ales at all, and you just want a simple lager, pale lager, something close to a Pilsner, go grab yourself or Corn Crusher. And as far as I'm aware, they come in a 4-pack. At least at Keystone, they're still available for carryout. They may be at the other restaurants, but yeah, I think that's a great beer. So, anyways, thank you for watching. You've just been watching Klaudless in Indy, where I talked about the Corn Crusher by Quaff On Brewing. And if you'd like to support me, please like and subscribe this video, and subscribe this video, subscribe to my channel, and I should be putting a link down below. Check out the link down below, buymeacoffee.com/Cloudless Media, where you can donate or become a subscriber, and pay for me to drink more varieties of beer in the state of Indiana, because that is my goal, is to drink, or at least to taste and review just about all the beers in the state of Indiana from of course, craft breweries and whatnot. And yeah, the more funds I have, the easier they'll be to do. Times are tough, but we got to keep moving on, because that's all we can do. So I appreciate your guys' support. I appreciate you watching this video, and I will see you next time.